they're getting ripped off. Meaning the handler pretty much trafficking them, gets them over there with the pie in the sky in mind. Over there thinking they're getting 20,000 to 30,000 per month. Trafficking in the Philippines. Let's get into it. Hey guys, thank you for watching another video. Guys, I want to get into this today. This topic, it really hit home. And it happens because this is fairly easy to do. And it's a sad thing, guys. What happens is the trafficking of Filipinos in the Philippines. And it usually happens where they get trafficked to other countries. Now, the reason why it's easy to happen is because Filipinos, they usually want to leave for greener pastures. I mean, in the Philippines right now, the rate was raised a little while ago. It was raised to around 500 pesos. But still, for jobs in the street, it's going to be less than 500 pesos a day. Now, 500 pesos a day is only 10 bucks, okay? 10 bucks. And still in the Philippines, I live in the Philippines myself, it takes me about at least 1,200, I would say. So that's around, what, 60,000 pesos to live comfortably, to not need for anything. And that's me as an expat. You know, I've made sure I dial my life down to where I'm living nowhere near a Filipino. Filipinos usually live with 300 to 400 bucks a month. But still, guys, 500 pesos a day, even though it raised, it's an increase, it's not a lot to Filipinos. So what happens is they start looking for greener pastures. Now, by looking for greener pastures, they start looking to any other country where there's more of an opportunity. Meaning, for instance, if you go be a maid inside of one of the Arab countries like UAE, of course you're gonna get more in the UAE, but still it doesn't pay much. Or people will go to Saudi Arabia, countries like that, and get these positions. I know a couple of people that actually do YouTube that have positions there, and it's much more than you would get in the Philippines. So they look to make a move for it. But the thing is, what happens to Filipinos is the fraudulent paperwork set up, and it's fraudulent bad deals to where they're getting ripped off. Meaning the handler, the person that's handling the paperwork, that's pretty much trafficking them, gets them over there with the pie in the sky in mind. Meaning they're going over there thinking they're getting 20,000 to 30,000 per month, and then they'll get us somewhere and it'll only be 5,000 pesos a month, and it's crazy. It's like they probably make more money in the Philippines. There's a lot of bad deals that happen. There's a lot of people that are involved in it. But I'm gonna go deep on this one, guys, so stay tuned. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm gonna do more videos like this. I didn't want to touch on this, but I like to also touch on things happening here that are affecting the people, because it's serious, guys. There's some things that happen to Filipinos that are tragic. Let's get right into this. So last year, the Philippines stopped over 600 trafficking cases in the Philippines. Now, these trafficking cases are anywhere from sex trafficking to Filipinos getting ripped off because they're looking for better opportunities. So not only was it over 600 cases, about 326 of those were minors, and I'm sure a lot of those situations with the minors were for sex trafficking. Not only for sex trafficking, it's usually easier to convince a minor, you know, give them false paperwork and get them convinced to go to another country and then end up trapped in slavery. It's crazy that this happens to Filipinos, but it happens all the time. It happened in 2020. There were about 30 to 40 immigration officers that were involved in a pastilla scam, where they received money wrapped in paper like pastillas candy. The reason why they received this was to let in Chinese immigrants, and 4 of these same workers were also involved in human trafficking women to Syria. So in total, there were about 86 Bureau of Immigration officers that were in trouble with the NBI for their involvement in the pastilla scam in 2020. So while the country was out of commission, still afloat for these criminals, and it was actually Duterte put out a APB to get them out of here. And these are things that's been happening for a while now. The sad thing about this is these same people, I'm sure, were in office. You guys remember the bullet scam that happened many years ago? It's not in effect now. You don't hear about it anymore. It's not happening, so there's no need to worry. But years ago, when you would come over to the Philippines, it wouldn't happen to everyone, And it happened around the time I came into the Philippines when I first visited. Guys, they would have people that were working with the BI at the airport. They would actually put a bullet in your bag and then come and search your bag, and then they would say, okay, we found a bullet, and then you'd be in trouble. Think about it, you're a foreigner, you know, you're coming into the country, you're going to give up that money for that bullet scam. It was big what happened, and they had to get out of here, and the thing was, all of them were involved, and the scams were, it was tragic. Mostly the Pastilla scam, that was a Chinese scam where illegal Chinese immigrants were allowed in the Philippines. A lot different than the other human trafficking. What happened also was in Syria. This happened with Syria where 4 women, the most recent case was actually in March. This just happened a couple of days ago where they rescued 5 Libya-bound trafficking victims in the Bureau of Immigration. And these victims were caught in Terminal 2. Usually what happens is the paperwork. Something's always wrong with the paperwork. And I'm happy that these certain Bureau of Immigration officers are finding this, because maybe something's off to where they notice it's coming from a already known scam operation. Look right now, like with this one situation, during further inspection of the people here, the group was found to have concealed an itinerary with a connecting flight bound for the United Arab Emirates, having Libya as their final destination. So they weren't going to Dubai, they were really going to Libya. So they figured it out and said, wait a minute, these paperwork says for Dubai, they're not going to Dubai, they're going to Libya. And what happened was, and Morente actually said it, he issued a warning against illegal recruiters, and he reminded Filipinos of the requirements for aspiring OFWs. And he said it too. Morente said, do not immediately trust people that you meet online. It can happen, and it's a sad situation. I just wanted to let you guys know about it. You know, I've also hired Filipino workers back in the day myself, but it wasn't for a sweatshop fee. I was paying $4 to $5 an hour because I felt they deserved that. And everyone I hired, I made sure that they were paid. And not only did I give them $4 to $5 an hour, I gave them commission as well, you know, because I had them doing sales jobs. And I've never ever looked to, you know, just rip someone off. Of course, I wasn't gonna give them $10 an hour, which would be too much, but still, I always wanted to make sure I paid them myself. I paid them well. I'm happy. And not everyone can speak and do those type of jobs. Not everyone can do sales. Not everyone can do customer service. Not everyone can go online and see these different online companies and do that kind of work. Not everyone can even do YouTube. Filipinos will never get in front of a camera. There are a ton of Filipinos that are doing YouTube, but sometimes a lot of people that are here, they have to be OFWs. My wife was OFW. When I first started talking to her, she was in Thailand. And there's so many Filipino OFWs. I know there's Filipino OFWs that are watching this now that are sad for other Filipinos that have to struggle because they want more opportunity. And I talked about it before, and you guys know about it already. There's situations where there's certain people that are in other countries, Muslim countries all over. They could be in Africa, they could be anywhere. And so many Filipinos get done wrong in other countries, and it's because they feel they have to. They have to deal with the abuse. A lot of times that happens. Because see, what happens is these Filipinos, once they get into these countries illegally, a lot of times it may be someone that's looking to get extra money from on top of their deal. So say if they're supposed to get $10,000 a month, okay, or $20,000 a month, they'll really get 10, and the other person gets that 10, and then he gets it off of, you know, he gets 5 people in. Now he's making 50,000 pesos, and then the Filipinos making 10, and then now they feel like they have to do it, they're forced into it, and then they're still sending money home, so they stay, and now it's just slavery. And this happens all the time, guys. I think it needs to be talked about more. The Bureau of Immigration and many different articles talk about it all the time. Many different people talk about it, but it's not in the eye of the world. It needs to be. It needs to be in the eyes of everyone out here, more than just us coming over here to live a good life. You know, when I heard this, I said, wow, this is a serious situation. It's a sad situation, and I want to talk about it. So yeah, guys, that's some of the things that happen here. It hurts my heart that these things happen, and it happens a lot in the Philippines, and the reason why it happens is because it's easy. Immigration warns Filipinos all the time about the different scams so they don't fall for it, but still, that pie in the sky, when people see that, they want it. You want to make more. Of course, they want to make more, a better living. There's a lot of good things that happen. Like there's a lot of Filipinos that leave to go work on cruise ships as cooks, and they get paid good money. There's a lot of good opportunities, but then there are a lot of people that are coming up that are just looking to take advantage of Filipinos because they want to make more for themselves. They want more opportunity, and every time you want more, there's always that evilness that's waiting to take advantage of you. But guys, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. See you next video.